up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Super Gamer Boys. I'm your host, Colonel and Dad, Garrett Morlang, and here in the virtual studio with me is the king of video games.
Hold on. Before you start.
Okay.
I was streaming last week, and I didn't get to update this because we didn't have an episode last week. Right. However, I was bestowed a new nickname during stream when I was Selkies gave me a name, and it was because we were playing the Steam Next Fest demos.
Oh, okay.
And I was talking about how I have pretty good taste as far as indie games are concerned, and Selkies said Mr. Good Taste, and I said, oh, you know what? That ain't a bad nickname. So I'm trying to figure out what I can boot to add Mr. Good Taste in there.
I mean,
so can you list them off?
So you have the king of video games and then elite game publisher. And honestly, I think you could say here's my proposition. The king of video games and elite taste maker.
Ooh. Hold on.
Because I feel like yeah, you are an elite game publisher, but you're also like expert taste maker, like something along those lines where it's like, not only are you, because that not only says that you have good taste, but you're good at like, almost like that could be your job. Like, oh, here, like some people could hire you and be like, bring me this, like when they hire
like a
to,
sommelier.
Yeah, like when they order. Yeah, exactly what I was going to say. Like people are like, hey, hire an expert to like pick out wine for my wedding. You could be the guy to like, hey, pick out the indie games for my wedding. That type of thing. So I don't know.
I dig it. It's a combination of the two.
You think you good with dropping elite game publisher? I know you only had that moniker for a couple months, but
that's okay. I mean, it's on the record, so it's enshrined in history.
That is true. It made it into.
I could take elite tastemaker. We could do that.
Okay.
That's a good amalgamation right there.
Cool. All right.
From the top.
From the top. All right. And also joining me here in the virtual studio with me is the king of video games and elite tastemaker, Adrian Holmes. What's up, Adrian?
Hey, I'm doing all right, my good man. How about yourself?
I am doing good. I'm glad we got that figured out. I feel like it's a much better kind of portfolio.
Rolls off the tongue.
Portfolio of who you are as a person as well. So
appreciate you, Selkies.
Good stuff. Thanks, Selkies. He's a good guy. He comes up with some. He's pretty smart, honestly. If we were gonna hire anyone, it'd be him. I don't know what we hire him to do, but
he's our marketing guy. Look, I mean, come on.
Exactly. Oh man, boy, it's oh shoot, my chair just broke.
Don't fall over.
Pardon me.
Started.
Pardon me. I don't know what's going on. This cheap Amazon chair's breaking on me. What are the chances of that?
Gee, I wonder why.
Why can't you get a good chair for cheap? Like, why do they have to be so expensive? Like, there's been a few times I've been like, I'm going to replace this chair. And then I go online. I'm like, oh, sick. Look at this. Oh, that's like $1,500. Like for anything that's not going to break your back, you have to spend like,
you know what's crazy though, is some of those $1,500, $2,000 chairs are still garbage.
Yeah, I don't get it. Like, why can't you just make a good chair that's like $150? I'd spend $150, maybe even $200. But like, but even like those Titan chairs, it's like $800. I'm like,
right.
Why? I don't understand. Like, I get it. Like, it's quality, but does it? It can't. Check it out. There's no way that's $800 worth of styro, or not styro, like foam in there, like micro. What is it called? Memory foam. There's no way it's $800 worth of memory foam. I can buy a whole queen mattress for $200. Why is my chair with like much less memory foam in there? Why is that like $800? I don't get it.
You want to get you a good chair? Go to somebody's grandma's yard sale and find their good sitting chair that they used to use.
But that's not good for like a desk, like my office.
You don't think so?
I mean, it probably won't have wheels.
I'm not talking about like a recliner. I'm just talking about, the ones they used to sit in when they would do their little knitting or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, pull that up to a desk. You could hand that down to your grandchildren. That's how long it'll probably last.
Maybe. I mean, you're not wrong. Like those are comfortable sometimes. I don't know. But then I've been to I've gone to like I think of growing up and going to my great grandma's house, and they had a chair that again was been around for 100 years or whatever, and that wasn't comfortable. But it was like there was a chair that like she sat in like all the time. It was comfortable to her, and she's had it for 100 years. But I sat in it. I'm like, this is death. I don't know how you sit in this. But at that point, it's formed to their body. It's formed to her body. Like it's right. So it's like perfect for her, for great grandma. But for like me, when I was like 7 years old, it was not good. It felt really bad.
I mean, if we're going off the basis of like you said, it not being cheap, being a sturdy, reliable chair, that's your best bet.
But I want it to be comfortable. So I don't want to like have a weird hunch in my back.
See, but that's the thing is it's the triangle, right? It's comfortable, it's cheap, and it's well made. You can only have two of these things. And it can be comfortable and well made, but it ain't gonna be cheap. It'll be cheap and comfortable. You see what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. I think that's the problem with America today, is that it has to be only two of those three. Why can't it be all three? And that's where Super Gamer Boys comes in.
Because it'll cost you $10,000. That's why.
And that's where Super Gamer Boys comes in. Because I think this is our chance. This is a niche market where we can jump in and give them people all three and make a lot of money.
This is a niche market. Gaming chairs are a niche market, you say?
A niche market as in we can offer all three of those of the triangle in one.
We'd have to charge people $20,000.
No. We can make a dang comfortable chair for $150. I think we should do it. Let's quit the podcast. Let's make chairs. Super gamer chairs.
As a tastemaker, I'm gonna tell you this is not a taste-making decision. I would not go into the chair game right now. Now, if an existing chair-making brand,
Lindsay in the chat says, "I'll buy a Super Gamer Boys chair." That's where I was
going. I was gonna say, now if an established brand wants to put Super Gamer Boys on a chair, we could talk.
But see, that's the problem with like the Herman Miller Logitech chair. It's $3,000 is because you can buy the Herman Miller version for like $1,500, but because this is Logitech, it's double the price, and that's dumb. Like, why is it?
Is it, or are people just willing to pay for it?
I mean,
like, imagine if we ever got to the point where it's like, oh yeah, it's a Herman Miller chair and it's $1,500. But if you put Super Gamer Boys on it, hey, it's a $2,500 chair now, boy.
Only people I've seen with that Herman Miller Logitech chair are influencers who are giving it for free. I feel like I've never seen anyone actually buy this.
Oh, thing. Absolutely!
It's all these influencers the best. It only costs like $2,500.
But they still got to pay us to put our name on the chair, whether it sells or whether it don't sell.
That's true.
So.
I just want one that has my face on the headrest, like our little like 8-bit or 16-bit like faces we have on our coffee mug. It's just like that, and then there's another one of you. It's just like your face. We can pick our own color schemes. It could be the Garrett chair and the Adrian chair.
I'm gonna tell you this right now: if we keep going the way we're going, it ain't too far off. It ain't too far off.
Selkie says in the chat, the super gaming chair, comfortable, crafted finely, and cheap as shit. Enjoy your bar stool, back support, and rectal donut. So apparently we're making a gaming chair.
It has a donut in it?
A gaming chair for gamers with hemorrhoids. That's what
I was getting ready to say. What you trying to say, Selkie? We got hemorrhoids now? What's up?
That's what's gonna end up happening. We're not gonna get it signed by Herman Miller. We're gonna get signed by freaking like some like Life Alert
Johnson & Johnson.
Johnson & Johnson making like gaming.
Welcome to the first medical gaming chair.
A gaming shower handle for like old people.
It's got LEDs in it.
It's just like, one of those suction cup shower handles with like, a bunch of RGB.
Could you imagine somebody's grandma showering with a LED shower head? It's 7 in the morning. That's the first thing she has to see when she comes into the tub.
I think of one of those. I think of like the special like chair that old people have like in their showers because they can't even stand up in their shower. It's just like a chair.
It's got LEDs in it.
Shower chair is decked out. Sulky says LMFAO. Oh no, not at all what I meant, but we running with it.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. I want to make all the Super Gamer
We
Boys
need a
geriatric accessories.
But our market is not the elderly.
It is now. Sulky's ADA RGB shower seat. 100%. Oh man.
I guess we need to figure out what we can do, like an AARP, like a Twitch sub. Maybe we can get instead of $5, you pay $3 if you're an AARP member.
Can Twitch do that? Can you type in your AARP card number and get a discount on
We're gonna be the first. We're gonna be the first to do it.
Oh man. All right, let's do it.
We're cornering the geriatric market.
Now that's a niche market right there that we can capitalize on.
I can't do that. I will feel too bad taking advantage of old people.
Take advantage of those old people.
No, I can't do that. I want to sleep at night.
Oh man. All right, that's fine. But imagine like a walker, just like all decked out, like matte black, sick RGB
a carbon
lights in it.
It's made out of carbon. Carbon
fiber walker.
It's water cooled.
All right, I guess we should talk about video games, huh? It's about that time.
We were.
Yeah, we
in
were.
a sense.
We technically were. All right, today we're going to be talking about Xbox's official statement on their game rumors, PlayStation's lack of game releases, and a new Star Wars game on the way. But first, let's give a quick shout out to our Patreon producers, Bumple Smash and Kajoma01, and our Super Gamer sponsors, Julie Bates, Mama Mare, and Carrie. Thank you all so much. Those of you who support us, we appreciate each and every one of you. And if you want to be awesome just like those folks, head over to patreon.com/supergamerboys, where you can support us starting at just $1 a month. That's right, $1 gets you episodes early and ad-free, such as this show, and the newly released, just this past Friday, Super Later Boys Episode 5, our Patreon exclusive show, up now. That episode is featuring special guest Eddie Martin and Connor McCabe from the Super NPC Radio crew over there. He has a podcast, Call Me By Your Game. It's very, very good. Go check that out. But yeah, for just $1, you could check out our Super Later Boys episode featuring those two, where we talk about dad jokes for a little bit. We talk about Pokemon games for a little bit. We talk about PC.
PC games.
Old, like from our childhood. Ones that you thought you'd forgotten. Some you would wish you had forgotten, and some that you did forget, and then you were like, had an epiphany. There's a couple times during the episode I'm like, whoa, I totally forgot about that. No way. Like, such a fun nostalgia trip. So if you want to hear us talk about some old PC games, go and check that out.
I wish I could figure out how to get Clue Finders running, dude. I really want to play that on stream.
There has to be a way. We'll figure it out.
There has to be a way, because it's not on Steam.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a way. We'll figure it out. We'll talk more about our Patreon later on the show. But I do want to give a huge shout out to Jack Sriracha, Yate, and DJ Trooz, all for allowing us to use their music on our show. Right now, you're listening to my Jack Sriracha and Yate playlist. Go and show them some love. The description, if you check out the description, you'll find links to Spotify and Apple Music, where you can check them out and listen to their awesome tunes. So, excuse me. Got something like stuck in my throat. The whole time I was talking there, it was like something stuck right there. It's hard to talk when there's something in your esophagus. I don't know what it is, but we'll carry on. Yeah, thank you for letting us use your music on the show. And with that, it's now time to check the mail.
Let's do it. Oh, Super Gamer Bot. They sent me an email and said that they were going to try to let me pull it up here. Sorry.
Okay.
They were going to audition to voice over the Nintendo Direct on Wednesday.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's where they are now.
So they're currently in an audition with Mr. Nintendo to try to okay. Interesting.
Correct.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, good luck
Best
to
of
them.
luck, of course.
Good luck to them. That would be awesome to hear them Wednesday morning. Cool. Well, I mean, before we get to the questions then, do we want to talk about what we think we might see at the Nintendo Direct. Potentially the final Nintendo Direct, right? Isn't that kind of like the thought? Like if they're coming out with a new Switch soon, granted,
this is it.
Granted, that was an article I almost put in tonight, but I didn't. Apparently the rumors are now the Switch 2 is not coming out until spring of 2025.
Totally fine with that.
So we could still get a couple more Directs this year, but
we could.
You never know. If they're really trying to phase into a new thing, probably not. It seems weird to start announcing a bunch of new games when less than a year or about a year, like we could see something new. So, but yeah, what do you think where we could see there? They already said it's going to be mostly third-party stuff, correct? Am I right?
Correct. Yeah, that's usually what partner showcases are.
Okay, that's what it's called.
Our third party.
Yeah.
So we already know we'll piggyback on this too when we go to that next story, or our first news story. We know that Xbox said that they are bringing certain titles to other platforms, and we know that one of those titles that's been rumored has been data mined to show that the main character has a whole bunch of other shirts that are exclusive to other platforms, and that is Hi-Fi Rush. And let me tell you, good buddy, if Hi-Fi Rush is announced on Wednesday, I'll be buying it on Wednesday.
So good.
Don't let it run at a 72060. Don't let it run at a solid 60. That's the only place I'm playing it at that point.
If it runs at a, what if it doesn't though? What if it's only running at 30?
I don't know how it doesn't, because I feel like it runs on Series S pretty well.
That's true. I mean, but Series S is significantly stronger than.
But if you downscale that to 72060, I don't think it's taken, because I mean my computer here, and it's just a 2070 Super, granted, but it was running that no problem. I never heard the fan spin up or anything, and I was running 1080 60 the whole time.
But even a 2070 Super is significantly stronger than a Switch.
Well, right, but I'm saying, I say that to say I don't think that this game is necessarily that intensive, and that if Tango, it is Tango, right?
Yeah, Tango Softworks.
Yeah, if Tango wanted to, put in a little bit of the work to downsize it to 72060, I think they can get it.
Oh yeah, if they really are going to take the time to optimize it properly, then I think it absolutely could. I guess I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how much. This is the first time we're potentially seeing Xbox games coming to other consoles, because again, like. That's the whole point of exclusives. They usually stay put, or they go to PC, which is much more powerful. So we're going to talk about it obviously later on in the news story, but it's at this point we don't have any. The only frame of reference we have is PlayStation putting stuff on PC, which sometimes it's great, sometimes it's hot garbage,
awful.
So with this, it's like, all right. What is Xbox's MO going to be? Are they going to be are they going to do the quick and dirty, like just get it out there? Or are they going to take the time to make sure like, oh no, it is best as make it as optimized as possible for the Switch? And I hope it's the latter. That would be great.
Right.
If it comes out on Switch and it's just like smooth as butter, looks amazing. Like imagine it on OLED. Holy cow. Like it's going to look gorgeous.
I can't wait for Wednesday. The thing, and I think it is the latter, because Xbox, if they're going with this new initiative, they cannot come out on a bad foot like this, right? You have to show why they believe this is going to pay off, because they have a premium product. And if you bring that premium product somewhere else and it looks worse than your actual thing, people aren't going to buy it.
Yeah.
So they really need to show out when they bring these new games over here. Totally. Which is why I think, honestly, they're gonna optimize the heck out of this game, and it's gonna be pretty smooth running.
Heck yeah, that would be sick. I don't know if I would necessarily if I would run out and like buy day one, but it would still just make me so happy to see that game on there, because oh man, that was such a fantastic game. Like when that came out, we did that for the book club. It's like, this game is so much fun. I love it.
No, dude, I need it. That game resonated with me. Like no other.
Yeah.
I love. I don't know what it's such a just a breath of fresh air. I don't know how else to explain it.
And the characters were so good. Like they
were
so lovable. Yeah. And like this by the end, like you're almost sad that it was over. Like, oh man, these games are so awesome. Like
I was sad. Just like the first time I ever played Persona 4. Spoilers for Persona 4 and Persona 4 Golden, which you still should play. When you beat Persona 4, you are the main character and you leave to go back to the city and you leave all your friends who you've made over the summer. And it's honestly, I was a real tearjerker because I honestly felt like because of how much time I spent in the game with them, those really felt like I was leaving my friends, and it hurt. It sucked.
Yeah.
So and I think Hi-Fi Rush is one of the few in recent memory that had a cast that actually made me feel like that. You know, so that really stood out to me. And that's on top of the great music and combat and all that other kind of stuff. But it has a really big heart too.
Yeah.
So
totally.
Yeah, that's a day one for me.
Lindsay in the chat says, I always want Hollow Knight Silksong announced at any direct state to play anything.
Yeah, good luck. It's been 5 years.
Yeah,
it's been 5 years.
Any chance of getting that?
Absolutely not.
Yeah. I mean,
you
never know. It could, like, again, if they're trying to pad out the last year of Switch, imagine Silksong coming out right at the end here, just to like, because I can't imagine there's going to be a lot of first party games coming out. But if Silksong comes out, that's going to sell so many more units of Switches, which is wild to think because there's already so many out there. But
you know what I would do though if I'm Nintendo? I'm going to Team Cherry's office. And I'm going there with a blank check. And you know what else I'm doing? I'm telling them that Switch 2 is coming out next year. And I'm telling them that we need a launch game. We need another launch game for our launch lineup. It doesn't have to be fully exclusive. It could just be it could be a year timed. But Switch 2 launch?
Imagine.
Silksong is in that lineup, brother.
That would be insane.
You're moving crazy units. Are you kidding? That's the only place to get it is Switch 2? Bonkers. That was absolutely if I'm what is his name? Is it Furukawa? The president of Nintendo right now?
Oh, I'm the worst person to ask that question.
I believe.
Yes, you're correct.
Yeah. Yeah, I am personally making a flight to Team Cherry Studios and telling them, look, what do you want? What do you need from us for us to get it first as a launch title in 2025?
Yeah,
I'm not even kidding. That would be one of the launch. It will be on the box, brother.
Oh, I mean,
bam.
They already broke records with the Switch and the launch and sales of that. Like, if they did something like this, that would be another like. Just they would blow the Switch out of the water with sales, I think, because so many people have been waiting for that. Like that.
Mario Kart 9, Metroid Prime 4, Hollow Knight, and whatever Mario game they got coming out. Forget it.
That would be an insane
lineup.
Are you kidding me? All of those games would just. Oh man, that'd be great. So as far as the Wednesday Direct, though, I don't know. I almost was going to say Pokemon, but that's first party.
That's also later this month because Pokemon Day is coming.
Yeah, and they always do a big thing on Pokemon Day. I honestly don't know. Like, other than the Xbox, that was the only thing that kind of popped in my head is, I guess to expand upon it, because you said just like kind of Hi-Fi Rush. I think, because the rumor is that there's 4 games that are supposed to be coming out on different consoles. I think it'll almost be like almost like an X. Here's a prediction for the Direct. I think it to the viewer.
You think it's all Xbox?
Not the whole thing, but I think to the viewer, there's going to be a section that almost feels like an Xbox commercial, because it is, but it's just talking about how the Xbox games are coming to Switch, and I think it's going to show off Hi-Fi Rush. What was the other one that's been rumored? Grounded, Sea of Thieves, like stuff like that. So I think it's going to be like boom, 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 where they just like show off stuff and be like, Xbox, blah, 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 like our new strategy, or I don't know how they're going to market it, but I think it'll, to the viewer, it's going to be like, what is this, an Xbox commercial in the middle of Nintendo Direct? But then it's like, no, all these games are coming to Switch, and stay tuned.
Here's my question.
More are going to be coming. So
do you think Phil's showing up?
Yeah, I think I think
no, not in the Xbox portion. Like, is he going to be in the Direct?
Oh, I think he'll just be in the Xbox portion, in the sense of like Furukawa could be like, all right, like we have another special announcement. Come on out, Phil, and then he comes out.
That's what I'm talking about.
And then okay, yeah. So I think that could happen. And it just like cuts to like him talking, and then but like intermingled with like trailer stuff, or like it could be a pre-recorded thing. Like, yeah, I don't know. It would be cool if he was actually there and walked in stage, but I could also see it just like cutting to a different camera angle where something he just recorded in his office or something. Kind of like piggybacking off of what they already talked about Friday, which we're going to talk about in the news later. So we'll see. I don't know. I think could be cool.
I said Yakuza would be a big deal too. Bringing Yakuza over.
Are there any Yakuzas on?
Not on Switch.
Okay, interesting.
Even if it's just, I would do 0 to 6 now, and then do the new one 7, 8. I think one of them is 9. I would do that on Switch too, and then have the whole thing over there, because 7 and up I think are more intensive than the older ones.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll have to wait and see. It'll be fun. It's early. Holy smokes. They always are, but when I saw the time, it was like 6 a.m. or something like that. I'm like, I'm not even awake.
I'll already be up.
I'm not even up yet. My alarm goes off at 7. Are you kidding me? Which I mean, it's honestly great, because then my alarm goes off at 7 and I roll over and I scroll through Wario 64 or whatever, whoever it is, and just like look at all like the boom, 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 the highlights. It's pretty nice.
I'll just watch it while I'm getting dressed for work.
There you go. Well, we do have a couple real questions, but maybe we'll just do one question, because we're going long on that. So the question I pick is actually a question from Selkies. Let's see here. All right, there it is. Selkies asks, if you guys each had one chance to go back in time and help a dev team fix a game to be more successful, what game and what fixes would be made? Ooh, that's a hard one.
Man. You go first. I'm trying to noodle on it.
Okay. I'm trying to think too. I don't know if I necessarily have one off the top of my head. I think
I got one.
Oh, okay. Good.
So, don't say good like you don't have to think of yours. You still got to answer too. There is a game that I really, really enjoyed called No Straight Roads. And it is a music-based beat-em-up adventure kind of game. And I really think, to this day, I still think that they had all the pieces to like really make a splash and make a real big impact with that game. And I think just something about it didn't really hit. I think they just needed more time to polish and more people to play test it a little bit, just to get some of the action to be a little bit more cohesive in a sense. Because everything else about it was awesome. The soundtrack was phenomenal. It looked great. Yeah, I think there's just like certain little, ins and outs and bits and bobs that really needed to be tweaked just a little bit for it to really shine. Because if I remember correctly, when it came out, it was getting a lot of 7s and 8s, I think. And I don't know. I guess this is the Mr. Good Taste in me. I really feel like this, they had something there, and they just didn't get enough time to cap it. They didn't have enough time, and they were a small team. This was like their first real big project, maybe. And I don't mean this insultingly, like they didn't have the know-how or like the experience to really know like how to tweak it to make it feel just perfect. But if they did, if they were able to like to get, I don't know, like an outside studio or to get somebody to consult on it or something like that, I really think they would have had a home run hit. And I think that would be the studio in the game that I would go back and try to help them out. Because I really like that game for what it was, but I really think it could have been a smash hit.
Yeah. Huh. What was the name of that again?
It's called No Straight Roads.
Yeah, I've never heard of that one. Interesting.
Say indie.
Okay. Huh. Okay. So for mine, I because before the show I told you that I thought of one initially and then couldn't remember it, and it finally came back to me. So it's a recent game. You've all heard of it. Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League. Man, because from what a lot of what I see, the story is actually good,
which is crazy.
And like the world building is incredible too, as far as like so who was it? Oh, was it Greg Miller? Kind of funny. I think he was talking about how he went into the Daily Planet and was like just walking around like the news, like the office is there, and like he actually was able to find like, oh, this is Clark Kent's desk. Oh, this is so and so. This is so, and like seeing like pictures of family members and like just like the actual world they built is so fleshed out as far as like little Easter eggs and things like that inside buildings or around or whatever. Like there's a lot of care put into that game, but then they so carelessly made it a microtransaction filled bullet hell. I don't even know what you want to call it. It's like this, like the combat, it's the gameplay and the combat is where it fell apart. The story and the lore and the world, like everything, even like, and even graphically, like it looks great. Like there's so much stuff that they did right. And then they like did so dirty with the, just with the gameplay of it is being kind of like an online, like, all right, play with your friends, co-op shoot 'em up game. It's like, whoa, like that is so far off from what Rocksteady is known for. And then even for what the franchise kind of deserved.
You know, the guy who throws boomerangs, we're going to make him shoot a gun.
Yeah. Or the guy who punches things and bites and eats people because he's a shark, give him a gun too.
We're going to make him shoot a gun.
Wild. So that's what I would change. Like if I could go there and just be like, whoa, hang on. You are nailing this, like so many things. But this one major thing, the thing that like matters to get people in the door and then hold their attention for 10, 15, 20 hours, whatever you want it to be, like gameplay really has to be nailed down, and it has to be something that even makes sense for the story. Like the story is kind of one thing and like the lore is one thing, and then the gameplay feels so different. Again, that's from what I've heard. I've not played the game personally, but from a lot of the reviews I've heard and read over and kind of like checked out, that's been what the consensus I've picked up on, is that it's so much done right. It just was fumbled with the type of gameplay style they chose. And so I wish we could fix that, because honestly it seems like a fun game to go and pick up, because I mean it's Rocksteady. Who wouldn't want it? Like the Arkham games are incredible. So in my mind, like I still see it all the time on like on Steam or on like PlayStation Store and stuff like that, and I'm like, nope, I'm not buying that. I'm not touching that. I'll pick it up for free one day, I'm sure, on Epic Game Store when PlayStation puts it out as a PlayStation Plus game. But I don't know if I could
put a 20 on it.
Maybe even that seems a lot. Like, you know how play on the PlayStation Store they have like the 20 and under or 15 and under. Maybe if it was like the under, like it was like, so if the 20, it's in there for like 18 something or like maybe 15. Like I don't even know if I could spend 20. That just still even feels a little dirty, but maybe, I don't know.
I mean, just to experience the story, which everybody is saying like is the strong point of the game, I think honestly a 20 would be worth it.
Yeah. Well, the quote unquote strong point, depending on who you ask. Then there's the people who are like, well, there's a whole controversy.
Oh no,
over,
I'm not gonna give them any oxygen.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
I saw that stuff about Batman and all that, I'm just like, you gotta be kidding. Like
I refuse to get riled up. I'm not giving them any oxygen on that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry the bad guys did bad things in the bad guy game. I don't know what else to tell you.
Right. I mean, they told the story how it would happen. Like
right. None of these people are heroes. They're bad people who do good things sometimes. That's it.
Yeah.
I honestly think if Suicide Squad was a single player and it just focused on the story that they had already told, I really think this would have been a 9 and 10 game.
And I know there's like been the discussion of like, well, because the Suicide Squad is made up of 4 or 5 people, it has to be this way. It's the only way that makes sense. But I don't know. I feel like they could have easily done a single player thing where like at different parts of the game you play as different people. Like, okay, like now it's all it takes is just like, all right, well, so-and-so, now you're going to take over for this mission. Or you can do every mission as any character you want to. Like you could still do that, like whatever.
Right.
I think back to the days of like, this just popped in my head. This had a revelation. I'm like, oh yeah, growing up like on PlayStation 2 and playing the freaking Lord of the Rings Return of the King game. And like, all right, you're going to play as, even though this part of the game, Gimli wasn't there, but I'm going to play as Gimli or Legolas or Aragorn. Like, who are you going to play as? You get to choose whoever you want. Like, that was always the whole fun of it, is there's a whole range of characters. Like, what do you want? Throw them in there. They don't necessarily
And it also makes sense story-wise because they're all together all the time.
They're all together anyway. So keep it, multiplayer is fine, but make it more single story focused where you can just pick your character. That's fun too. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. This game would have ruled if it was single player, I feel like.
But trying to, I mean, and even having the multiplayer option is not a bad thing. I'm not against that. But I think it's because they tried to, it's from, again, what I've picked up on, it seems like they really leaned into like almost like a live servicey style thing with like the microtransactions and even just the uninspired boss battles and stuff being more like shoot 'em up stuff. Like so even the fights aren't even like very narratively driven. It's just like, all right, throw them in an arena and fight things. It's like, but so
I don't know if I would blame them for that. I think I would blame WB more for that. And I think WB made them put that stuff in there. Like even to the pay to win, the microtransaction stuff, I really think that was all WB being like, hey, we need to make sure this makes money.
Yeah.
So put this and put this.
Well, to be clear, I don't think there's any pay to win, but it's still more like I don't know. Maybe I've missed that. I've picked up on it. It's still just more like, oh, buy cosmetics and junk like that or weapons and stuff.
Yeah. Well,
because I mean, pay to win like kind of like makes me think, because it's not. That's the other thing. It's not a multiplayer game. You're not playing against other people, so they're not necessarily. I don't know. It's a weird bag, and I just wish it was better. And so that's the one I would go back and fix and just be like, put my hand up and be like, wait, hold up. Let's think about this. Let's like think about this for, instead of 2 seconds, let's go to good 5 seconds, maybe even 10. That'd be good. All right. We thought about it for 10 seconds. Now, what do you think? Let's change this.
Right.
Oh, man. All right. Well, that's it for the questions this week. We had another one in there, but we'll hold it for next week. It's getting to be that time in the show. It's time for the nerdy nudes.
It's now time for the nerdy nudes.
Perfection. All right. This first news story, as we've hinted at multiple times, Xbox business update confirms 4 exclusives going multi-platform, reveals Diablo 4 Game Pass date. Kat Bailey over at IGN writes, Xbox revealed its vision for the future today in a podcast featuring executive Phil Spencer, Sarah Bond, and Matt Booty, who did their best to articulate the path forward for the platform amid reports of plans to embrace a third-party publishing strategy. The business update confirmed that 4 games will be releasing on other platforms, though Xbox did not provide additional details. It also revealed Xbox's plans for Activision Blizzard games on Game Pass while teasing the largest technical leap you will have ever seen in a hardware generation for its next console. That's kind of like what they told us for this generation, and so far, no one's really showed much of
remakes
anything.
And remasters.
Yeah, I'm not seeing much of anything going on lately, but I digress. Here's everything that was announced. Xbox revealed its plans for PS5 and more. The biggest news was Xbox's confirmation that 4 games will indeed be going multi-platform. Spencer declined to name the game, saying only the teams that are building those games have announced plans that are not too far away. As we know, games teams put a lot of energy into their announcements and partners, so I don't want to take anything away from those teams. So I won't be talking about those titles specifically, but when they come out, it'll make sense. Just that sentence right there. The teams that are building those games have announced plans that are not too far away. Makes me think it's Nintendo Direct. Like, oh yeah, next week, just wait. Asking whether Indiana Jones and Starfield will be among the games going multi-platform, Spencer said they are not. As for the 4 games that will be going multi-platform, The Verge reports, so the rumors, I guess, or speculation, reports that they will be Hi-Fi Rush, Pentiment, Sea of Thieves, and Grounded. And that was kind of my prediction for Direct, is like, all right, let's just, like, there's no need to piecemeal this out. Let's just do a big bang, 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 bang. Xbox coming to Switch. Stay tuned for more. Here's this, that, and the other thing, you know? I think
Xbox.
The Xbox Wire post reads, to ensure long-term success for both Xbox and industry as a whole, we must continue to evolve. Today, we announced that we will expand the communities we reach. We are currently in the process of bringing 4 Xbox games to other platforms. These titles which have been available to Xbox players for at least a year, including hidden gems that deserve to be experienced more widely, and live service games whose communities will benefit from welcoming even more players. We will share more details on those titles soon. The last thing is that Diablo 4 is finally coming to Game Pass. The update also confirmed that Diablo 4 is coming to Game Pass on March 28th, which I can't wait for. I don't have Game Pass, but I'll pick up Game Pass just for that, because I've held off. I held off on Diablo 4, not only because of the whole Activision Blizzard. I wasn't going to play a game until Bobby Kotick was out of there. I haven't played.
Which he is.
I haven't played. Yeah, I can finally play Activision Blizzard games. And if I don't have to spend $60 on it, I only have to pay like $9.
I'll take it.
That's great for a month. Try it out for a month. With this being only the beginning for Activision Blizzard games on the service, fans have been waiting for Activision Blizzard to arrive on Game Pass since the deal closed last year, with Spencer chalking up the delay to regulatory challenges. Xbox also reaffirmed its commitment to the service, saying that Game Pass will continue to be only be available on Xbox platforms and will have all first-party games
for now.
On day one. It's funny he says that, because I feel like it was just not long ago. Well, no, it's funny he says that, because I'm pretty sure Game Pass is available.
You want to jump into it?
Game Pass, there's Game Pass apps on other devices. Like there's on Samsung TV.
The Samsung TV.
Yeah, and isn't there also an app on? I mean, there's an app on Androids as well.
And iPhone now.
Now there is, yeah. After they kind of settled their differences a little bit, but so it seems weird for him to say that when it's not true. But all right. Yeah, on the console front, Xbox confirmed, because that was the other thing, you know, people were freaking out about with exclusives and games going other places. What's the point of this box? What's going on here? Well, not only are they not all games going other places, but they say Xbox confirmed that it's working on a next-gen console and that it will be the largest technical leap you'll have ever seen in a hardware generation. Also appeared to tease new hardware for this holiday, which that was wild when they said that. Like, oh yeah, they're coming this holiday. You're gonna hear more. It's like, dude,
it's that refresh.
You think it'll be like a Xbox Series XS or something like that, or
well,
X,
yeah, remember
Elite?
They had that whole leak come out, and they had the revision that was supposed to be coming out this year. So that's probably what they're talking about.
You're right. I totally forgot about that. I guess, or actually, I didn't forget about it. I guess in my head it already happened, but now that I think about it, yeah, there hasn't been any new consoles other than that. The black Series S that came out,
which
right?
I don't really count. It's just a colorway.
Yeah, well, and the 1 terabyte hard drive, right? I had a bigger hard drive.
Yeah, even still, same deal.
The
same internals, same speed, same all that.
But according to a tweet here they put out, Xbox hardware will also continue to be a flagship experience for players and for game developers to launch games on, with a robust and innovative multi-year hardware roadmap, including more console and controller options for you this holiday. And that was something that we kind of touched on the last couple of weeks of talking about all this Xbox news. Is all the Xbox fanboys are losing their minds, like, oh, why do I have this? Why do I have this console then? If you're going to put games other places, like, I should just buy a PlayStation then. It's like, well,
the
no.
sky is falling right now.
Like this says, Xbox hardware, and I mean, and this has always been the case. They didn't have to say this. This is understood, but people are dumb, so they had to say it. Xbox hardware will also continue to be a flagship experience for players and game developers to launch, just like we talk about with PlayStation. The best place to play PlayStation games has been and always will be on PlayStation. It's going to be the same thing for Xbox. The best place to play Xbox games is going to be on the Xbox consoles, because that's what they're like optimizing the games for their consoles. So yeah, who cares? Like, Starfield shows up on PS5, great, but you know what? It's not gonna run as good. It's gonna have issues, just like the frickin' a PS3 game when they put Last of Us Part 1 on Steam and freaking 3090 or 4090 couldn't run the thing. Like,
that's because that team was like, what do you mean we have to develop for more than one SKU of hardware?
It's like, yeah. So it's like, if you want a game if you really enjoy those franchises put out by Xbox, continue buying their box, because that's where it's going to run the best.
Or a Samsung TV.
Or a Samsung TV if you want to stream it. So that's like, again, that's revisiting the hullabaloo from a couple weeks ago a little bit, but I like that they reiterated it, like, hey, calm down everyone, because even if we do put games other places, Xbox is still going to be home to the best experience of it, which is 100% true, and always has been the case and always will be the case. Like, that's not going to change. Just because they put a game on PlayStation or on Switch doesn't mean it's going to suck on Xbox. It just means it's actually going to be probably better on Xbox, and it's going to be
vice versa for any other platform.
Okay, everywhere else. So yeah. I've read a lot here. Talked about a lot about their update. Adrian, what is your biggest takeaways then with all of this? Because I assume you watched this or kind of was up to date on it when this happened last week.
I did watch it, and how should I say? I really don't think this needed to be an event, or I should say, this could have been an event, but now it feels like damage control when it probably wasn't originally slated to be.
Yeah, because
of people misconstruing everything that is happening, and again, like we were saying the sky is falling.
Dude.
As far as the content of the meeting, what?
I was just gonna say, I don't know. I was just having flashbacks. I don't know if it's a nostalgic flashback or if it's PTSD. But to 2 weeks ago when we released the TikToks and the reels and the shorts and stuff, and the hate and vitriol we got for 2 days in a row. I loved it. I honestly loved it, because it was just like one day we were the Xbox fanboys, and then the next day we were the Sony ponies. And it's like, these people don't know.
Make up your mind.
These people don't know what they're talking about. But yeah, people are like you said, sorry, I interrupt you, but you just mentioned like, oh, the sky is falling. And yes, that's exactly what a lot of the sentiment of the comments were.
To the point that some people sold their Xbox stuff because they heard that the games are going other places. And I'm sure they are absolutely regretting that decision right now. Mm-hmm. I don't know. As far as the content goes, I feel like this could have been a press release or an Xbox blog post. Especially because they didn't tell us what was going to other consoles. All they told us is pretty much what's not. And I want to do an earmark on that one, because everything that Phil said, you can basically add a right now at the end of it, right? Indiana Jones and Starfield aren't coming right now because these 4 games are a litmus test.
Yeah.
They want to see if these are going to do gangbusters on other platforms. And if they do, you bet your bottom dollar by the end of 2025, you will see these flagship games on other platforms. Yeah. They'd be stupid not to do it, especially if they're seeing good numbers on other platforms with just these smaller titles.
Yep.
So anything he said, oh, Game Pass it's going to only be on it. No, it's not. No, it's not. If they get good sales numbers on other platforms, you better believe they'll pay whoever they got to pay to get Game Pass over there.
I mean, it's a miracle that we don't have Game Pass on Switch yet. Because, they've had a partnership with Nintendo for a long time, and there hasn't really been any fruits of that at all. Like, they announced it, and at the time, the only thing that came of it was more Minecraft stuff. But otherwise, like, there hasn't been much more going on. But it's really surprising that hasn't happened sooner, at least over there.
There's a couple of things. I mean, the Switch OLED, the kickstand. I'm sure they were like, hey, Microsoft, we really like how that Surface, the back end on that Surface kind of.
You think you think that was from Microsoft? They're like, hey, the kickstand.
It acts just like a Surface one, like to the T.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if they were like, hey, can we, use that patent for our kickstand? And Phil was like, yeah, whatever. They're boys.
Yeah.
I don't. This was a much ado about nothing.
Yeah.
Just like you said earlier, who cares? The games are still coming to Xbox. They're still coming to Xbox day one. And they are still made for Xbox first.
Yep.
So why do you care if they're going somewhere else? You can still play. It doesn't invalidate your purchase if it goes somewhere else. Now, I know what you're gonna say. Well, you didn't say that about Sony. The Sony problem here, I don't care if their games go to other places. The problem is it ain't no games.
They're just
to
not
go
putting out
anywhere.
Games. They're not putting out games.
There's no games.
Well,
I don't care if they go other places, but there's no games to go anywhere. And they said that it's not going to be anything until at least April of next year.
Well, funny you say that, because that leads right into our next news story. This story comes from Andy Robinson over at VGC. Sony expects PS5 sales to decline, and there's also no existing major franchise titles before April of 2025.
Ridiculous.
Sony says it expects PlayStation 5 hardware sales to gradually decline during its next fiscal year, which runs from April 2024 to March 2025, and confirmed its plans to release no major existing franchise titles during this 12-month period. In the company's financial results for the 3 months ended December 31st, 2023, Sony Gaming Division reported another record quarter in terms of revenue, with PS5 sales reaching 54.7 million, but lowered its sales forecast for the year after it fell behind in its lofty hardware target. Sony Interactive Entertainment had set an ambitious sales target of 25 million PS5s for the year ending March 2024. However, in the latest quarter, it sold 8.2 million consoles, bringing the total for the year to 16.4. The company said it now expects to fall short of its original target by 4 million units. The corporation now expects 210 billion yen in sales for the year from its game and network services segment, a 5% downward revision, which it said was partly due to a decrease in sales and an increase in losses from hardware due to promotions. Editors note, also because when they jacked up prices on PlayStation Network last year, a lot of people canceled because they said, screw you, Sony. They're not saying that here, but that's probably another reason they took a big hit.
Not only that, the console themselves got a price increase, remember?
Yeah, you're right. The digital version went up $50. So the digital version of the console got more expensive and their online services got more expensive. And a lot of people said, peace.
I'm out.
Regarding PS5 hardware, which will enter its 5th year since launch, said Sony President, COO, and CFO Hiroki Totoki, partially due to entering the latter half of the console cycle, we're aiming to optimize sales with a greater emphasis on balance with profits. So we expect a gradual decline in unit sales from next fiscal year onwards. Regarding first-party software, we aim to continue to focus on producing high-quality productions and producing live service games, but while major projects are currently under development... I know, they say that. While major projects are currently under development... Like what? Tell us.
Spider-Man?
We do not...
And then what?
We do not plan to release any new major existing franchise titles next fiscal year like God of War Ragnarok and Marvel Spider-Man 2. Let's see, blah 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 blah. There's just stuff. Look, it's just a bunch of numbers. The rest of the articles just talking about like specific numbers. But
shout out to Sean Layden, dude, who should have been the CEO of PlayStation. And I'm not saying that in hindsight. Like, we knew that before they installed Jim Ryan in there, right?
Yeah.
Sean has been saying and says to this day, if you follow him on Twitter, that Sony doing these gigantic 5-year, $300 million, $500 million games is not sustainable. It's not the way to go.
No.
And he is absolutely vindicated right now. They 100%. Have nothing to show for this entire year from their first party studios. That's crazy.
And so now this is like we talked about last news segment. We got a lot of hate for this. Everyone's saying like, oh, you guys are just complaining over there, you Sony fanboys, like just suck it up. It's like, okay, let's look at what we've gotten and like realistically, PS5 exclusive Sony productions, like exclusive games. Like we've not.
You ready for the list? Here we go. Spider-Man 2.
Like last year, yeah, we got Spider-Man 2. The year before that, we got God of War Ragnarok. And
also on PS4, it doesn't count. Yeah. Keep going.
Hang on. I'm going to bring up a list because a lot of the comments were like, they could only name 2. They don't know anything. So it's like, you know what? I'll get an official list for it. PS5
Let's do it.
Exclusives. Here we go. Here's what we're going to do.
You ready? Because there's 3. I can tell you the 3. You ready?
All right. So we got
Demon Souls.
Astro's.
Go ahead.
Well, so this list has Astro's Playroom.
Technically, yeah.
Technically,
it's more
yes. It's.
I'll give you that.
It's
one.
a fantastic
I'll give you that one as a
game.
freebie.
It's a fantastic, but it's a stretch.
I'll give you that one as a freebie.
Demon Souls, which is
2.
a remake.
Mind you, this is $500 you have to put in.
Yeah.
$500, okay? So go ahead. We got two games in 4 going in the 5th year. Go ahead.
Destruction All Stars. You remember that hit game?
Wow. Whoa.
We got Forspoken. No, that's not even a PlayStation exclusive.
That's not
Sony
PS
Studio. Okay, we got Spider-Man.
And it's on PC.
Exactly, yeah. Spider-Man Remastered. But it's exactly that. It's on PC and is also remastered. Spider-Man 2, Ratchet and Clank
Come into PC.
Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, which is on PC. It wasn't at the time, but it is now on
Okay,
on
so
PC.
I'll give you that. What is that? We're at 3 now?
Returnal. Returnal is very good.
4.
It's also on PC, but that's a very
also
good
on PC
game.
though.
Very good game. Let's see. They have Last of Us Part 1.
Horizon cross-gen.
They have Last of Us Part 1 and 2, but they were PS4 games that they just brought to PS5. They're not new games. That's it.
That's it.
So the 3 games. This article.
Gran Turismo, which is also on PS4.
Okay, so we had God of War, Gran Turismo, Ratchet and Clank. What else did we say? Demon Souls, which is a remake technically, but we'll give it to them because it's mostly new. Kind of. Spider-Man 2. So in 5 years, we've gotten 5 games. Basically.
3 of which are on other consoles.
God of War Ragnarok,
one of which is a direct remake of an older game.
Yeah.
Horizon's on PS4. Gran Turismo's on PS4. God of War is on PS4. Demon Souls is a remake. So realistically, if we want to do 1-for-1s, you got Returnal, which is now also on PC. You got Ratchet and Clank, which is now also on PC. And then what else? Astro's Playroom. So you want me to pay $500 for 2.5 games?
Yeah.
You're out of your gourd.
And I want to clarify, because again, we got comments about what are you complaining about? There's a lot of good games. These are all fantastic games. This entire list. And we're not complaining about the quality of the games or even the number of the games. It's, again, we, just like you Xbox fans, are looking for reasons to keep your Xbox after games are going to other consoles. People who have PlayStations also are looking for reasons to spend $500 on a console as well. And at this point, I put less than 10 hours on my console last year, and I played it for an hour the other day to play a Final Fantasy VII Rebirth demo.
Which is also headed to PC, just like the first one was.
Exactly. Well, probably be coming. Actually, at the end of the trailer, it says it's only exclusive until March. Or not March, May, the end of May. So it's like this summer it could be coming to PC. So I just want to clarify, we are not saying that these games are bad or that there's not a shortage of games per se. The shortage is in that the PlayStation 5 exclusivity giving me a reason to keep this box. Because if the trend is they're going to, and again, they're going to play best on PlayStation, but the savings on my wallet and also the ease of access of having it just on my PC or on my Steam Deck is enticing. It is enticing to sell my console and just be able to play on my Steam Deck like a year later.
From my point of view, honestly, it's not that these games are going to other other platforms like PC. Right. I don't care that they're going to other platforms. I don't care. The problem is there is nothing coming.
That's the other thing too. Yeah.
Even if it was going to other places, I would be fine with that. But there is nothing even coming to go to other platforms.
All we know about is Wolverine.
And that's what, 2026?
And Fizzant. Kojima Productions Fizzant.
That's PS6. That's PS6. I'm not even gonna humor that. Yeah, no.
So at this point, it's like in the past, a lot of those games went to PS4 as well or PC. And then now looking to the future, we got 1 game, maybe 2 if Kojima really smokes, I don't know, all the drugs. And
all the peyote.
He's just like up there writing furiously, editing like a madman on his computer. That's the only way that's gonna happen.
No, man.
So that's it.
I guess
it's just just trying to justify this console that sits here that I put less than 10 hours in last year. It's kind of wild.
Do you think now that we're going into its 5th year and he said they've only sold about 50 something million, right? Do you think it hits 100 before PS6 comes out? Is this the first PlayStation mainline console that? Oh no, wait, PS3 didn't.
If they were continuing to pump, if they were continuing to pump more and more games into it, like if there was more regular releases that were actually like gave me a reason to buy PlayStation 5, like if they really stuck to their guns with exclusivity, just like they did in previous generations. Again, and I'm not against games going to other places, but if they want to hit that record like that again, they kind of have to be more exclusive. Unfortunately, that's timed. So I think if they were continuing their push with lots of games, then yes, they could hit that. And because I feel like with this announcement, they're telling everyone that they're kind of giving up. They're just like, hey, sales are going to be declining, no games in the next year. And so it's kind of like they're just laying down and dying a little bit. I feel like if they would have just doubled down and just like, no, let's get some games out there and get stuff going, I think they could have hit the 100 million mark. They could have. Yeah,
it's almost as if, if they had smaller games that didn't take as much time and didn't take nearly as much money, they could have made more smaller games and had a consistent flow of software coming in. But here we are.
Let me see. Hang on. I just got something in the chat over on YouTube. What is Sony doing? What release? Oh, that's great. There's an interesting question. What if Sony's Jim Ryan would have released his PS5 only games he announced when PS5 was launching, and he said he wouldn't play PS4 titles? I think what they're trying to get at is, remember how there's all these games they said are going to be PS5 exclusive, PS5 only?
Yeah, we believe in generations. I remember it well.
Yeah, that was his exact quote. We believe in generations here at PlayStation.
Yeah.
And then the whole like first 2 or 3 years of games were like, well, actually they're coming to PS4. And then like a year, then like a year and a half later, and they're also coming to PC. It's like, all right, Jim. All right. Cool.
What are we right? You know what? I'm just gonna walk everything I said right on back.
Yeah. It's like if they would have stuck to their guns, I really think, which is hard to say.
It would have did gangbusters.
So here's the thing. I'm glad that games are more widely available.
Of course.
I'm a huge Sony fan. Don't get me wrong. I love Sony, love PlayStation, but I also love people being able to play games. So I'm happy that games are on PlayStation. I'm happy that games are and PC and all these other PS4 even. Like, great, bring it around. But if they really wanted to kill sales and break records and do what they've done in the past, they needed to continue on the same trend they've done for the past 30 years and just be like, nope, games come out on our system and that's it. Like they kind of needed to stick to their guns in that. And they didn't. And I don't think that's necessarily a positive or a negative. I just think that's the reason that they're having troubles now with sales. This
also kind of flies in the face of, there's been the argument that, well, there are some people who they don't want to play on PC. They just want a console, which is valid.
That's great.
Don't get me wrong.
That's how I was for years.
But where are these people who just want to play on a console? If they only sold 50 million, clearly that's not necessarily the full case, right? Like,
yeah,
I mean,
true. Or they're just playing games on the PS4 because they still have PS4.
Which honestly, I can't be mad at you
because
about.
They keep releasing
it's going to take forever to load, but you have most of the PS5 slate already.
Yeah, there's only a handful that didn't go over, and it's like a remake, Demon Souls and Astro Bot,
which you could technically play.
Yeah, you could play the original.
Yeah. So I don't. Yeah.
Wild.
It's unfortunate. I mean, and before they're trashing on. So Xbox is in a similar. They are in a similar situation. Good person.
Yeah.
Good listener.
I think that's why they have a hard time with selling their console as well, and why they keep like falling behind in sales is because day one their games are always available on both Xbox and PC, and then they also have Game Pass, and they and again, people are gonna think like, just because I say that they're falling behind the sales, like it's such a negative thing. That's not necessarily a negative thing, because just because they're falling
still
in
selling units.
They're selling. They are still selling units. But what I was going to say is they're still making millions, billions of dollars off of services. So it's like who and having games on multiple platforms. So I don't think any of this is bad. A lot of people are all doom and gloom, like, oh, PlayStation's losing or Xbox is losing. Like, oh my God. It's like, no. Yeah, they're not doing as good as they normally do in specific areas, but you look in other areas and they're making so much more money because their games are available on PC now, or their games are going to Nintendo in the sense of with Xbox, stuff like that.
Also, let's keep it a buck. I just want to do that on the Xbox side as well. The tentpole games that they have brought out for this generation, let's call it spade a spade, they were not bangers.
Yeah, it's been iffy so far with
some not by any stretch. Some were pretty good, but pretty good when you're coming up against, the stiff competition like that ain't good enough.
Yeah. But there are rumors that apparently Sony could be releasing a new Astrobot game this year, because technically their statement was no major franchises coming out in the next year. So again, this comes from Jeff Grubb. Take it with a grain. I would say grain of salt. Take it with a grain of salt, because sometimes he just says things and then people call it a rumor when really it's just an idea he had.
Every time he can't sneeze and then it'll be a headline.
So I don't know whether this is an actual rumor or if it's just a crazy idea he had and then people ran with it. But apparently, yeah, he seems to think like the verbiage is important, because they did say major franchises, and he's thinking, we already know Rise of the Ronin is coming. We know that Concord, one of the live service games, is scheduled to come out this year. That's the stuff that's scheduled for sure, he said. And then it's like there might be new game entries and franchises that already exist. They just not be major in PlayStation's eyes, like God of War. They said God of War, they said Spider-Man. These are franchises they sell 15 million copies lifetime or more. Grubb added, I've heard maybe Astros does happen this year. So if that happens, that's pretty big for me. I get why Sony's not thinking that's a major one for us, at least not yet. Hopefully they could turn it into a major one, and then a lot of this changes around. I am 100% down. I loved Astro's Playroom that came on the PS5. Like we talked about.
That's what I was going to say too.
We talked about it just like 10 minutes ago or whatever. But that was honestly when I first got my PS5. I remember coming on the podcast and talking to you and Adrian and being like, guys, Astro's Playroom is like one of the greatest games ever made. And you guys were both like, that's not a game. It's like it shows off the blah, 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 the features. And I don't think you had a PS5 yet. I think and Adrian did, or sorry, JJ did. And he was just like, are you kidding me? This is so dumb. And then I remember when you finally got a PlayStation and you played it.
I don't remember being this negative on it. I remember being neutral and being like,
you guys were giving me a hard time.
It's I feel like I said, I have heard that people are saying it's a tech demo, but I don't remember straight up dismissing it like that. I wouldn't do that about a game.
Your eyes were opened when you finally played it. And you're like,
oh, that I will not dispute that with you.
And
I said that, and I still say that to this day. Astrobot's Playroom is the best PS5 game there is. Hands down.
It is fantastic.
Hands down.
Like that's one of those.
And it's only half the size and half the length of an actual like full-on PS5 title. And it blows the doors off 95% of the other ones.
It's so good.
However, even if there was a new Astrobot Playroom game or a new Astrobot game, it's still not $500 worth for me.
Oh no.
I cannot.
That doesn't justify the price tag for sure, but it would be nice.
As much as I would absolutely love to play it, love to play it, $500 is way too much for one game.
Yeah, totally agree. All right, where are we at here? Ooh, we are going long.
Are we in the weeds?
Yeah, a little bit. We're all right. Real quick here, we actually got one last comment. So we'll read it real quick here before we move on. Sony is in discount development mode, using already existing Astro's Playroom assets and making another game for them equal low-cost game creating, making new revenue. Yeah, I mean, you're right. Like that could be the case where it's just reused assets to an extent, but
if it's good, who cares?
Yeah, if it's a good game, like I don't know, like that, and that's so. That's what we kind of talked about earlier on in the show. You were talking about Sean Layden's comments where the 5-year multi-million-dollar like development cycle isn't sustainable for the long run. Like reusing assets is fine as long as it's a good game, right? Like there's nothing wrong.
God of War Ragnarok.
Like make a good story and good fun gameplay. Like that's fine. Like that's what game studios used to do for decades. It's not until the last like 5 to 8 years that all of a sudden it's like, or 5 to 10 years maybe, where all of a sudden it's like it's bad to do that. That used to be the norm and people were fine with it and loved it.
I was gonna say, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. Everybody used to do that back in the day.
Yeah, everyone did it.
And you just didn't realize it because you were too young to understand that they were doing the same thing, or they were using flipping assets in creative ways to make sure you didn't notice it.
Yeah.
But they were absolutely doing that.
So I'm not against it as long as they do it well. Like, yeah, reuse assets to make new games. Keep it low cost for you. Because what that means is, yeah, exactly what our problem here is. There's nothing on the slate. And so if we could have more games on the slate here to give me a reason to play this console, and as long as, again, the quality is kept up, because they have great writers over there, they got good developers who know how to use assets and reuse assets if they need to. That would be great. So honestly, I'm not opposed to that. Like, as long as it's good. If it's just recycled garbage, it's like, all right, this is the same world. Like, that sucks. But it's like,
you know what would have been sick? If Sony gave their studios like a directive. You know what I mean? Like if for example, they sent out a blast directive and they're like, every studio has 2 years to come up with a 6-hour game.
That'd be cool.
I don't care what it is.
Almost like a game, almost like a 24-hour game jam, but it's like
in a sense,
but it's spread out. Like you got 2 years, but like just make a solid, like 6 to 10 hour game.
That way you get a game from every studio and it's 6 hours, and you can do like one game a quarter and still have something coming out.
It doesn't even need to be
the third party.
It doesn't even need to be like a big major franchise. Make it like a fun little passion project thing every
as long as they know it's from a PlayStation studio, they'll eat it up.
Have a small team on that, and then the major team still working on the big stuff. Like, dude, that would be sick. That would be really cool.
I was saying the major team do that.
Oh, okay. I was thinking like it could almost be like an indie studio within the studio kind of thing. Like, hey, like, so that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could.
But I don't know. That would be cool. All right, let's hit this.
That's what I would do. I'd do stuff like that if I was.
Yeah.
Jim Ryan or Hiroki Totoki, something like that. That way we can have games in 2024,
right?
You know, but
have something this year.
Who am I?
All right, let's hit this last news story real quick. There's not much here to talk about other than over at IGN, Wesley Inpool says Star Wars Mandalorian video game reportedly in the works at Respawn. Star Wars Jedi and Apex Legends developer Respawn Entertainment is reportedly working on a first-person Mandalorian game. Insider Gaming reports Respawn's Mandalorian game, which in the early stages of development lets players control a Mandalorian bounty hunter during a time when the Empire is dominating the galaxy. IGN has asked EA for comment. The player is reportedly tasked with taking on bounties for cash, as you might expect from a Mandalorian video game. There's word the iconic Mandalorian jetpack plays a part in the game's high mobility, with boost sliding similar to that seen in Respawn's Battle Royale Apex Legends. It's said to be fast-paced, with health regenerating upon successive kills. Gadgets supposedly include a wrist rocket, grapple hook, and a visor for tagging enemies and bounties. According to Insider Gaming, this Mandalorian game is not open world, rather made up of linear levels set across multiple planets. There's no word on multiplayer. As for when the game will come out, Insider Gaming reports it's still a year or two away at least. So not much more than I thought would be known about the game is known about the game, but that's interesting. When I originally read this, I assumed it was a Mandalorian game based off like the TV show, but this makes it sound like you're just playing
its own continuity.
Yeah, almost like I wonder if they'll almost. I mean, they could go either way. They could either lock you into a character, or I wonder if they'll even let you make your own Mandalorian. Like, oh, make a Mandalorian, and then do bounties and stuff like that. That would be kind of cool. They have like almost like a character creator. That'd be pretty sick.
Actually, it would, and it would work too, because a lot of Mandalorian armor it's different, because in Star Wars lore, it's deeply personal to the Mandalorian. So who wears it? So it would make sense that you can make your own armor and be your own Mandalorian. Huh? They could go that way.
That'd be pretty cool. I mean, I'd still be down. Like honestly, what they just described is like that would be cool, even just for a
the Mandalorian.
If it's like either the Mandalorian from the show, or if it's a different one, but like you're locked to a character, that's fine. I'm sure it could be really fun. Just the idea of it being like a fast-paced first-person shooter. I love the feel of Apex Legends. That's one of my favorite battle royales is Apex Legends. So to get like a Star Wars themed Mandalorian, that'd be pretty cool.
My problem with that though, Garrett, is if they do it because Mandalorian doesn't move like that. He's not like doing this and dodge rolling and triple jumping. He has a jetpack, yeah, like you said, but he's not sprinting across the battlefield.
It depends on the Mandalorian, though. I feel like
I thought you were talking as if it was the Mandalorian.
I mean, if it's the Mandalorian, I don't think it would be like that. But that's why I'm thinking it's either going to be a different character or it's going to have a character creator. Because then, there's extremely athletic, acrobatic Mandalorians and stuff. So I think it'll either be a different character or because it even says it lets player control a Mandalorian bounty hunter during a time like they're very. It seems like it's very intentional with not saying the Mandalorian or Din Djarin. It doesn't say Din Djarin. Like it just says a Mandalorian bounty hunter. So yeah, it makes me wonder either it's going to be a different character altogether or they're going to have a character creator in it. In which case, then like the more athletic, acrobatic kind of like fast-paced action could make sense. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Fair.
I'm a fan of Respawn's first-person shooters, and I'm a fan of this the Star Wars Jedi series. Like they've done such a good job with the storytelling in those games, and like the lore and stuff that they've created in those games is incredible. We already know they know how to handle a Star Wars franchise with respect. And then on top of that, having kind of a awesome portfolio of first-person shooter games, I think this could be really fun.
All I'm gonna say is take your time. Yes. Respawn. Let it out when it's release it when it's ready. That's it, and we'll be here.
Yeah, totally. All right, that is it for the Nerdy Nudes this week. Now, let me look at my show notes. It is time. Oh, now it's time for our Patreon ad.
Yes, I gotta pee.
All right, this is the time of the show, the part of the show, the time in the show, where I tell you to go over to patreon.com/supergamerboys. If you love what we do, if you enjoy our show, our content, and want to help us make more stuff or even get exclusive access to our Patreon shows like Super Later Boys, support's over there. You can start supporting us at just $1 a month. That's right, $1 a month gets you early access to this show. If you miss a live recording or whatever it might be, or you missed a part of it, you can get it immediately after the episode here. I edit it and put it right up on our Patreon, so then you have access to that. Everyone else has to wait until Wednesday to get full access to the episode. So either you catch it live or you gotta wait until Wednesday. $5 a month you can support us over there and get the previous perk of episodes early and ad-free, but you can also get access to our show notes. You know exactly what we're going to be talking about each and every week. Leave your own questions, comments, concerns, thoughts on all the news stories, all the listener questions. Even tell us what you've been playing. If you want to have your own voice heard, go ahead and throw it over there on our doc that we post each and every week. $10 a month if you want to be a Super Gamer sponsor. Just if you're a huge fan of us and want to get those previous perks and get a shout out on the show each and every week, $10 a month, and we'll shout your names from the rooftops. You'll also get those previous perks there as well. $15 a month. That's our top dog tier. You get all the perks I've mentioned, the early access to shows, the Patreon exclusive shows. You get the show notes. You get the shout out in the show. But also, you can pitch us your segment. If you have an idea for a segment on the show, or maybe even a different show altogether, or whatever it might be, something that we post on social media. If you have an idea for some part of the show, then support us over there. And then, we would love to give it the old college try. There's very few times that we've actually turned down segment ideas. Sometimes they're a detriment. We've had a few segment ideas that probably shouldn't have happened, but we tried it anyways. And boy, it keeps things interesting. So yeah, if you got, we had for a while, someone had us watch bad movies and then review them on the show. Or we had a segment where JJ told a story and we had to guess whether it was a lie or the truth. You never know what we're going to talk about over here. So yeah, if you got a segment idea and really love our content, want to help us keep making cool things, support us at $15 a month. You can be at that top dog Patreon tier, Patreon producer tier. We'd very much appreciate that. You can also support us by buying merch, sgbstore.com. You can go to sgbstore.com and buy merch like our coffee mug, like our new dad hat with our logo on it. I love that thing. I wear it all the time. You can get sweatshirts, t-shirts, whatever you're looking for, stickers. Lots of fun stuff at sgbstore.com. We'd appreciate if you go over there and support us. Get some cool merch. Last but not least, if you're watching us over at twitch.tv/thesupergamerboys, whether it's tonight, Monday, as we're recording this, or during the week, we do streams on Tuesday night and Thursday night. Be sure to head over there. And if you have Amazon Prime, you can link it to your Twitch account. Use your free Prime Gaming sub on our channel. It costs you $0, and we get $5 out of it. It helps our channel support us. And on top of that, not only do you get ad-free viewing, but you also get access to our emotes to use all across Twitch. So not only are you helping us, but it allows you to watch our streams with no ads and get access to our emotes. So if you have Amazon Prime, you have a Twitch account, head over to twitch.tv/thesupergamerboys. Drop that free sub over there. We'd very much appreciate it. All right. And with that, it is now time to get back to the show. Alrighty, Adrian, it's that part of the show where I need to ask you what you playing.
Whoo, baby, what am I playing? Okay, couple of things actually. I don't know if you've heard of the game Titan Souls.
No. Is that a mix between Titanfall and Dark Souls?
It's definitely a Souls type. However, it's like it's a twist on it, right? So
I have heard of this game.
Yeah.
I've never played it.
You run around the world as like a little warrior.
Yeah.
And you go into different realms and fight different bosses, which are extremely hard, right? Mm-hmm. The catch is you only have one arrow.
Oh.
So you have to shoot that one arrow and hit where, the areas that you need to hit and survive. And I mean, you are trying your best to survive. You are ducking, dipping, dodging, and you can also call the arrow back to you. So some enemies have like weak spots on their back. So you have to shoot the arrow past them and then kind of line yourself up with their weak spot and then call the arrow back to do damage on them.
I was going to ask, I was like, how do you fight enemies with only one arrow? But that makes sense. You can recall it. That's sick.
Yeah. So that game is super hard, but it's really addicting because, it's just like a Souls game where you're like, I just need to learn the pattern and I could beat them.
Yeah.
And it really does feel good when you beat a boss. I've been playing that a lot on Vita. And then I've been playing a couple of things. Well, you and I have been playing something lately, but I'll let you talk about that one.
Okay.
We've been doing some diving lately. My other one, where is it? It's also on Vita.
Ooh, Vita. Oh, you're playing that Titan Souls
it's
on Vita as well? Okay.
Volume.
I don't know if I've heard of that
it's like a, how do I explain it? It's like a tactical espionage strategy game in a sense. Does that make sense at all?
One more time.
It's like a stealth strategy game.
Okay.
I don't really want to give too much away about it, but like,
what's the name of the game? I want to look at this.
It's called Volume. It's like it's isometric. It's a top down, right? Like, so you can see the whole layout of the floor, and then the enemies, they move a certain way and you move a certain way, so you have to plan your moves out, but you also have to be stealthy and not get caught and not be seen.
Interesting.
And you can use different techniques to this is one I bought a long time ago and had never got around to, so I'm playing this for the first time.
It's by the same people who did Thomas Was Alone.
Yeah, Mike Bithell.
Crazy. Okay. Huh.
Yeah, so there's different types of guards, and there's like they have different techniques they can use. They have dogs that they can send out after you. It's pretty awesome, and I'm kind of upset that I waited this long to play it. But yeah, it's great.
This one screenshot I'm looking at on Steam, it almost looks like it reminds me of the VR missions from Metal Gear Solid.
In a sense, it's definitely an homage to some of that in there too.
Okay.
But I really, really like it.
That's cool. Huh. Interesting. I've never heard of this, which is surprising because it reviewed really good from what I can see. Like Polygon 9 out of 10, Game Informer 88 out of 100, Guardian 5 out of 5. Made by Bithell Games. Like all these things add up to where I should have heard of this, but
because it was only ever on Vita. Like he made this with the intent it's a Vita game.
Well, I mean, it's on Steam now too. Apparently, like I'm looking at it on Steam.
Right. I'm saying the original vision,
August of 2015. But crazy, huh? That's cool. I'm glad it's seeing I'm cool. It's cool that it's seeing the light of day. Like it's not just stuck to Vita. Like a lot of people put games out on Vita and then I feel like they got stuck there. So it's cool. Like this eventually came to, Steam and other places. Yeah. Maybe I'll have to add that to my wish list because that looks really cool. Starring Andy Serkis. What? Charlie McDonald and what was that other name? Danny Wallace? Who's Danny Wallace? Yeah, that sounds familiar. I can't figure out. Andy Serkis, though. I'm in. I'm sold. No.
You're welcome. Mr. Good Taste at it again.
Mr. Good Taste. Cool.
But good sir, what have you been playing?
Oh, what have I been playing? I have been playing before I get to the main attraction here, I've started up I finished Metal Gear Solid 2 on the Master Collection. I posted about it in the Discord. No one commented on it, so I guess no one cares. But I fired up.
That's because the Master Collection is not good.
It is now. They finally fixed it for Steam Deck. So
for Steam Deck, what about everybody else?
Oh, it's been running fine everywhere else from the beginning. The only place that hasn't been running good is Switch, but that's because it runs at like 10 frames a second. But it's been fine on PlayStation and Xbox. It's just been, and even PC. It's just been Steam Deck and Switch. Switch is a lost cause. Switch is a lost cause, I feel like. But Steam Deck.
That's crazy. It's a PS2 game.
Yeah, it is crazy. They're technically using the HD collection version, which is a PS3 game.
Even still, that's a PS3 game.
But still. But no, they finally did the update where on Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3, the audio worked. That's right.
Wait, the audio didn't work?
Only on Steam Deck. On PC, it worked fine. But if you installed it onto the Steam Deck, the audio did not work on Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3. Unless
is it because where the audio files were stored or something?
The audio files were missing originally, and so you had to manually. So in order to fix it, like when it first came out, I had to install it on my computer, copy and paste this file onto a thumb drive, plug the thumb drive into my Steam Deck, drop it into the install file on my Steam Deck, and then the audio worked. But now
they didn't put in the audio files to a game.
But they're there now.
Joking.
They finally patched it. It only took them like 4 months to put the audio files.
I would have got the way I'd have got my money back so fast, Garrett. You're a trooper, dude. Absolutely not. No audio. No shot.
Oh, there's audio. You just had to work for it.
Yeah, exactly.
But we're here now. They finally patched it. It's in there. They got the audios. It sounds good. But anyway, so I finished up Metal Gear Solid 2 and fired up Metal Gear Solid 3. And I
can't wait.
I'm not far into it. I literally played it for I basically had enough time to get through the intro video, and then my kids are like, where they were done watching their show, they're like, we want to play. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll put my video game down.
Here's my dilemma. I'm wondering if I should make you stop.
For what?
And just wait for Delta.
I mean, I've played 3 before. This isn't my first time.
But you play it, but you didn't play it. You weren't in it.
And that's
you
why
don't like Big Boss.
But I know, and that's why I want to play it again here, because especially before Delta comes out, like I almost want to be able to appreciate Delta more by playing this, if that makes sense.
If that's the case, yeah, I can see that.
Because not only can I appreciate what they kept consistent, like the good things that they kept consistent, but the things I dislike, hopefully they'll fix in Delta and be like, yeah, this feels better, and then it's good all around package. We'll see though. You never know, but that's my hope.
And then hopefully we can get you to play,
and hopefully
the best of the three, Peace Walker.
Yeah, we'll see. It's not part of the Master Collection, so I'll have to fire.
It's not.
I'll have to fire up my PS3 for that, because I have the what is this called? The Legacy Collection.
Gold. Never getting rid of mine.
But the big dog game, the one that you all want to hear about, kind of out of nowhere, because I originally had no plans to play this game. It looked fun, but I was like, not for me. But I got an invite from a couple buddies. You may know them. You may know them as Boba Fletch and the real Dan. That's right, Dan and Nate over there hit me up on Discord. They're like, you need to buy this game. And I was like, all right, cool. They're like, we need a fourth. I'm like, I don't know. Who else is going to play? They're like, what do you mean? Adrian, duh. Like, make content. I'm like, oh, yeah, cool. All right, we can make content. That makes sense. So we bought 2 copies of Helldivers 2. Woo! And let me tell you, that was a very, very good decision. I initially was like again, like I said, I was not looking, not that I thought the game looked bad, but I was like, this isn't my cup of tea. I don't know about this. Dude, as soon as we jumped into this game, it's so much fun. The shooting is so fun. The shenanigans are great. The variety of worlds and missions is just like seems unending. Like I feel like every time we play, it's like the missions are plenty different enough to keep it interesting. Which is what I was afraid of with this type of game. Like I just get bored quickly. I think I've talked about this on a previous episode. I think I have video game ADHD. It's only just in video games, but I cannot handle things as being the same for too long. I'm just like, no, I'm out. I'm done. And so this has enough variety where I'm like, all right, when are we dropping next? When are we playing? Who knows? Maybe after we finish recording this episode, maybe we'll play. I don't know. Probably not. I don't see Dan and Nate aren't online right now, but that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, when's the next date? When are we playing? When's my next fix? But the graphics are incredible. Holy smokes. There's a few times I'm like, is this game ray traced? And it's not, but holy cow, it's a gorgeous game. It looks beautiful. Super smooth, runs so smooth for being a PlayStation game, because this is a PlayStation game. PlayStation Studios game that launched on PC day and date, which is unusual. Usually it's like a year later. This is like the day it came out on PlayStation. It came out.
It's a harbinger of things to come.
And I bought it on PC, which seems wild because it's a PlayStation game. But here we are. I bought it on Steam and it runs. It's been running fantastic for me. No issues. The only issues I have had is not the game's fault, but the servers being full all weekend for the frickin' double XP weekend. We tried to play Saturday night. We did end up playing, but Nate didn't get stuck for very long. I think he got stuck, he had to wait a minute. I waited about 15 minutes. Dan had to wait 45 minutes, almost an hour, I think it was, before he could play, before he could get into our lobby. It was wild. Me and Nate just started playing. And then and that was the best part. Me and Nate were playing, and then all of a sudden, Adrian just popped up. We're like, whoa, I had just sent a text to Adrian a couple minutes before, and you were just in there. And Dan's like, what? How'd Adrian get it before me? He was so mad. He's so ticked off. Oh man. But
Dan's better than me, because if I am going over 15 minutes, that's a no, fellas. I'm not getting on tonight.
Yeah.
45 is crazy. Hopefully, things are gonna. It's after the first weekend now. Things are probably definitely thin out by this coming weekend.
We'll see. I don't know. I just feel like all I see on Twitter is just everyone they're just done with it. People are like, I'm returning the game. I'm whatever, this, that, and the other. People are getting so fed up with
missing out.
Because it seems like it's not going to slow down anytime soon. It's ultimately going to come down to the studio finally needing to bite the bullet and just get more server space, which is what they should have done over the weekend
from jump.
To
be fair, they did not expect, nearly any, because I can maybe count me and 2 other people that have even heard of Helldivers, let alone play the original.
Helldivers, the first one was more of a cult class, like a cult game. Like it's very much
Right.
like a smaller crew that was into that. I remember hearing about it, but again, it was the same way I felt about Helldivers 2. I felt about Helldivers 1, where I looked at it, I'm like, it looks like it could be fun, but not for me. I just kind of moved on. I think I might have played 2 rounds of it with Ethan. Because he, after we met at Kind of Funny Live, he was just like, dude, I love this game so much. It's my favorite game of all time. He's like, you got to play it. So I did like a couple rounds. I'm like, oh yeah, this is kind of cool, I guess. And then I never played again.
I was right here. I had it right here.
Yeah.
Me and my Road Dog right here on Vita. It came out on both. It came out on PS4 and Vita.
That's awesome. I think I played it on PS3 because it was a free PSN game at the time too.
Mm-hmm.
By the time I got my PS3, it was towards the end of this PS3's life cycle. Actually, I think the PS4 was out. I got a PS3 after the PS4 came out because I couldn't afford a PS4. So I'm like, PS3 Black Friday deal. It was like $100 for this PS3 on Black Friday.
I couldn't fault you for that.
It was the crappy super slim one that had like the slider top, and I'm like, better than nothing. It was cheap.
Fair.
It was cheap. But dude, yeah, Helldivers is fantastic. I'm loving it. You should all get it and play with us. I mean, our squad's full, but the more the merrier. If we can team up,
divvy it up.
Allow me to play more hours of the week. That would be great. Although I'm going to be busy come like in another week and a half when Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is out. So I'm only playing Helldivers for another week and a half, and then I'm done. Sorry, throwing it away.
I have to live through you on that one, on the Final Fantasy one.
Can't wait. Lula's in the chat, and she says, "You know what? No one plays Unreal Tournament 4." I don't know if she's saying that because you are correct. That is a game that came out 20 years ago. That's why no one's playing that anymore. I don't, and I can't help you. I'm sorry. I don't own Unreal Tournament 2004 anymore. I used to have the disc of that. That was a game like I owned the physical copy of. Not anymore. Do not have that.
Reaching back around to Helldivers.
Yeah.
That game is definitely, if the original is any indicator of their content plan, we're just at the tip of the iceberg, because the original Helldivers had 4 expansion packs that it had released over the course of its lifetime. Dude. So we've got a lot more content. So I would definitely, people are fighting bugs and automatons right now. That ain't gonna be all.
That's awesome.
If the old game has anything to say about it.
Oh, the automatons suck so bad.
They're so hard. But the first game, and people don't know this because nobody played the first game. The first game is just as hard. Like, this is a hallmark of this series to be this hard.
Okay. Even the alien missions were that hard?
Even the alien missions are this hard. Yes.
So really, because I feel like it's wild just how drastically different. Like, we can play. I think at one point we did an alien mission on like medium or hard and got through it no problem. And then we did an automaton mission on like easy, and they wiped the floor with us. It was horrendous. Like, I was like,
well, the good thing about
God.
2
this is easy. What is going on?
Right. The good thing about 2 is the easier difficulties actually are easier this time, and
except for automatons.
But you also, even if you don't finish the mission, you still get XP. Because back in the day, if you didn't extract, you're not getting nothing.
Yeah.
So there are definitely quality of life updates that they've done since the first one that people will never know. Yeah. Y'all better be grateful that you get XP at all, okay? Because sometimes you don't make it out.
And I really like the third-person perspective, because the first one was like isometric type top-down kind of look. I like that this one is more over-the-shoulder, third-person. I don't know.
It just kind of put me off on this one initially. That I was like, I don't know if I want to jump into this, because I'm used to it being top-down.
And that's what I thought too. Without even being like a fan of the series, when I saw that, I'm like, oh, that doesn't look like Helldivers. What is this? Like they're changing the format. This is a different game. Now playing it, I'm like, no, that feels better. I like this. I'm in. I'm all about it. Oh man, yeah, very good game. I'm enjoying it. I can't wait to play again soon. With that, we should probably wrap this show up. We're getting We're getting up there.
Yeah, we've been going.
We're almost to that 2-hour mark. We're about 15 minutes away, so we should probably wrap this sucker up. Alrighty. Well, thank you all so much for joining us tonight. We appreciate each and every one of you who stopped by and hang out with us. And support the show, whether it's just through listening and viewing on podcast services, on YouTube, over at Twitch. Thank you to everyone. We appreciate it. And if you really love what we do and want to help us even more, you can think about going over to patreon.com/supergamerboys. You can support us over there starting at just $1 a month. That's right, $1 gets you episodes early and ad-free, and our Patreon exclusive shows, just like Super Later Boys, which is the new one, just came out this Friday. Episode 5 of that is out. Only get it on Patreon. So think about supporting us over there. We'd appreciate it. You can also support us going over to sgbstore.com. You can buy some merch. We got the dad hat with our logo. We got the...
Where's my hat at?
Okay.
Did you order it yet?
No, because we talked about, and we just need to make time for this. Remember, I told you there's different designs. They have like a trucker hat. They have a snapback. I thought you were going to order
my sample for winning the fantasy league.
I want to look at them first with you. So maybe after we get off the call today, we can look at them real quick and you can decide. Because before I order it, because like I said, there's like 5 different styles of hats. I was like, I want to make sure it's the one you want. So I didn't want to just order it and be like, this isn't what I wanted. So maybe we can do it real quick after the show. So who knows? Maybe more more Super Gamer Boys hats to come. But right now we have the dad cap over there. It's fantastic. We got t-shirts, we got mugs, we got sweatshirts. It's one of my favorite sweatshirts I own. Super Gamer Boys one. Nice and soft, cozy. So check it out, sgbstore.com. Shout out to Jack, Sriracha, and Yate for allowing us to use their music on the show. Remember, you can find their work over on Spotify and Apple Music. Links will be in the show description on YouTube and podcast apps. Check that out. Click on them. Listen to them. Add them to your playlist right now. You can also find us during the week at supergamerboys.com, Twitter and Instagram at supergamerboys. I am on Twitter and Instagram at gmorlang. Adrian, where can the fine folks find you at?
You can find me any and everywhere at Homeboy.
At Homeboy, that's right. Oh, thank you, Lula. Finally doing some work around here. Made her a mod. She's did the old ! Patreon on Twitch. So click that link right there. Support us on Patreon. It's nice having a mod in the chat. It's great. Thank you, Lula. All right. Well, with that, that's all I got. So, Adrian, if you don't mind taking us out of here.
Sure thing. Folks, as usual, thank you again for hanging out with us for another week of the Super Gamer Boys podcast. We wouldn't be here. We would be here. We'd be here talking games, but
we'd be here.
We wouldn't be, doing all this without your support. It means the world to us. Even if you can't support us monetarily, just the fact that you're hanging out with us, telling people about the podcast, or checking out the shows that we put a lot of effort into, a lot of thought, a lot of time. It all kind of adds up, but your support definitely does not go unnoticed. If you are, let's see here, I will be streaming tomorrow night.
Yes.
What I do not know, if I can get Clue Finders going, I will be streaming Clue Finders tomorrow night.
Dude.
Hopefully. If not, I'll figure out an alternate, but that is the plan. And then you can catch Garrett on Thursday doing what he does best.
Playing games. That's not true. I'm the worst one. That's like my whole shtick is that I'm bad at video games. So watching me do what I do worst, playing video games. Come by. Just, people like me for my personality.
And with that, good people, we will bid you adieu until we see you again. Take care of yourselves. And until next time, we are the Super Gamer Boys.
We will catch you on the flippity flop.
No games in 2024 is insane. That's crazy. What are you thinking?
It's gonna be a long year.